Hello, listeners. Welcome to my podcast show. This is your host, Isaiah Neni, and this is the GameTime Gazette, where we're talking all sports, including Formula One, UFC, boxing, NBA, NFL, NHL, and more. Let's have some fun. Let's get ready.
Good morning, people of the world. This is your host, Isaiah Neni. This is the GameTime Gazette. I thank you for joining me on another beautiful day to talk some sports, to just go through what happened last night, go through some things that are going to be happening today. We got some NBA coming back, MLB finally getting the first spring games. So we got some baseball coming back, rolling along. F1 continued their day 2 of testing. So F1 is amping up more and more and more. NHL, they've been playing all week. Got some more NHL games today. Got a full slate again tonight. Yeah, so let's just dive into it. Let's just get going into it. First let's talk about the Champions League games that happened last night. Barcelona against Napoli ended 1-1. It was one of those games where you just, honestly, as a Barca fan, I'm disappointed with the result because felt as if Barca should have gotten up the win. Dominated that first half, possession wise, attacking wise, just controlled the pace of the game. Just weren't able to get into the back of the net. Seen Gundogan get a good opportunity. Seen Lamine Yamal get a great opportunity in that first half as well. And Lewandowski get a good opportunity in that first half. Just wasn't able to get into the back of the net, which was disappointing. But come out in the second half with a lot more force, a lot more fire. Was able to score within the first 15 minutes. Scored in that 60th, 61-minute mark. And Lewandowski got a great ball from Pedri. I mean, it was just great. Like, it was, a great play, a great, finish by Lewandowski. And then at that point, you were thinking Barca was going to control the game. Barca was going to finish out the game and win the game. But then, yeah, I mean, on the other side, 15 minutes later, Inigo Martinez gambles on a ball. Osimhen is getting a through ball, and then he gambles. He tries to jump in front of Osimhen. Osimhen overpowers him, man, and gets an open view at the keeper. Finishes. Osimhen's a serial finisher. Like, you give him that opportunity, it's hard for him to miss right there. As soon as I seen the gamble by Inigo Martinez, I knew it was over and it was gonna be 1-1. And that was Napoli was getting so lucky because they didn't even have any. They weren't doing much. Barca was defending them well as well. And then after that point, Barca just lost their confidence, lost their momentum, and it was Napoli to end off the game just with all the attacking and everything, which was really disappointing. That last 15 minutes from Barcelona was really, really disappointing. This whole season has kind of been like a whirlwind, with you got the media forcing Xavi out. You got the media saying that De Jong is earning 40 mil a year. You got like just so much drama, so much drama. It's been so much drama since Messi has left. Even when Messi was here, you know who I blame? I blame Bartomeu. I blame Bartomeu. That guy is a criminal, man. He's a criminal, man. He came, bad mind guy, came to ruin the club. I don't know why. I really don't know why, man. Came to ruin the club, and those 5-6 years that Barca was under his presidency, man, those were 5-6 years of the worst time of Barcelona. Not because we weren't winning, but because of the impact that those 5-6 years had towards now and everything that's happened. Josep Maria Bartomeu, guy's a criminal. Tax fraud with the signing of Neymar, tax fraud with the signing of this guy, tax fraud with the signing. This guy's a criminal that ruined my club, put my club back 10, 15 years. Where we're not even able to buy any players. We haven't been able to buy players in the last like 5 years, bro. Such a hard time. That's why Laporta is the best president in all of sports. I mean, being able to get things done with the Barcelona wage bill that we have right now, it's impossible, and he's still able to get it done. He's able to make the impossible possible. That's why I call him the best. Barca's wage bill is 204 million. Real Madrid's is 727 million. the difference in disparity. Yeah, it's because President Tebas is a Madrid fan. The president of the La Liga, he's a Madrid fan. That's one reason for sure. Definitely helping them out in a few ways. But Madrid handled their finances well. Jose Maria Bartomeu, he did not. He did not at all. He did not at all. Waste you. He's a waste you. That's what he is, man. That's what he is. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this guy and what he did to my car. That's sad times, man. Sad times. Barca will improve. We'll get back into where buying top players again and being able to just afford them without struggling is what it is. Not this year, but next year. I mean, we're making them as well. We got the Yamals, we got the Pedris, the Gavis. We're making them. We're making them in La Masia. Mark Giu, he's looking like a next great striker. 16, 7. I mean, he's 18. So we're making them as well in La Masia. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But yeah, now that second, I mean, that whole match for Barca. I mean, that second half really disappointing. It's gonna be interesting when they come to the Estadio Olímpico. Um, it's not Camp Nou, but it's our home, right? And we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if we're gonna be able to just get them and be able to beat them and hold the lead. I mean, that was a disappointing second. I mean, after we scored the goal, our defense has been, our back line's been our worst part of our team, or one of the worst parts of our team this year, especially after last season where we only allowed like 25 goals. And it's a lot. It's really a lot. Injuries have something to do with that for sure. But the way the players have just been playing, it's just not been great. I mean, that gamble with Inigo Martinez, you really can't just live on that. Things happen like that, and it is what it is. To be honest, he took that gamble. What if he won that gamble? Barca would have won the game 1-0, right? So, it's just a tough decision to make. I mean, that was such a gamble. Like, it was just you, Aussie. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. The next game that happened in the Champions League last night was Arsenal versus Porto. It was a very back and forth game. Seemed like the game was going to get tied up and just go to that second leg 0-0. Arsenal had their chances, weren't able to, have that clinical finish though. Not able to get any shots on target throughout the night. Porto, though, at the end of the night, I mean, with having less possession, significantly less possession, and with having the ball significantly less, they were able to get the lead in the 95th minute with a banga of a goal. I mean, I seen it from Galeno. It was all over social media. That was different. That was different. I love seeing that as well. I mean, look, like it looked such an off angle as well. That's why I caught the keeper. It was such an off angle, power, speed. Definitely going to be a Puskas contender this year. One of the best goals I've seen this year. Like, at least, personally, one of the best goals I've seen this year. Yeah, and for Arsenal, this is just the same old Arsenal in the Champions League, right? Arsenal, I seen a stat that Arsenal has, like, they're beating up Premier League opponents right now, and like their last 5 Premier League games, they're outscoring their opponents 21-2. 21-2. They are beating up their opponents in the Prem right now. But you get to Champions League, they dropped the game in the I believe they dropped the game in the group stage. Let me just double check that, because yeah, like it was they lost to Lens. They lost to Lens 2-1. They were still able to get out of their group in first, but they've had some miscues, and yesterday was another one, and yesterday was a big miscue as well, because when you get to the round of 16, this is where it gets tight, and that's the thing about the Champions League, because the margin of error is so low for every team in the competition. Even if you're one of, I remember you guys, if you have been watching or hearing me for the last few days, I've been saying that Arsenal is one of the top 4 teams left in the Champions League. That was before the match with Porto even happened. and they still are, regardless of the result. It's just that in the Champions League, it's a different animal. A lot of things go on. It's easier to win the Champions League than it is to win your league, because like you don't have to have the same type of consistency. You could have a stroke of luck, and I mean, for the other team like Arsenal, you could just have an off game where it's just not there, and then a Porto 1-0 win. I mean, all the pressure's on Arsenal now, right? All the pressure's on Arsenal now to get that win. And I believe that they're going. Let's see where the second game is, but all the pressure. Yeah, okay, they're gonna be at home. Arsenal's gonna be at home, but doesn't change the fact that the pressure is all on Arsenal. Crazy, crazy. Um, let's talk a little bit about NHL. Or actually, before we get to NHL recap, no wait, actually we'll do NHL recap. I'm over here bouncing up and forth. I was gonna talk some F1, but I will do that right after because we're just gonna talk about the Leafs game. I mean, it was the Maple Leafs against the Coyotes. Auston Matthews sets record with 50th goal. He became the fastest U.S.-born player to reach the mark in a season. I mean, he got 2 goals, so he had 51. And I mean, impressive. Just shouting out Connor McDavid, going again for another 60-goal season. Ridiculous, and breaking records while he's doing it. 51 goals in 54 games, 9 in his past 4. Guys, on fire. He's on fire. And yeah, I mean, these last few years as well, he's been just putting the puck in the back of the net. He's been a very good player for the Leafs, though they just haven't been able to put it all together. You just hope that this is the year. I mean, they get to the playoffs and everything changes. The scoring. I mean, they're just decisive edge. Their cutting edge is just gone, and you don't know why. You don't know why. Last year was much better though, and I feel like that's the building based from improvement. It's not the same type of organization, but I look at the Detroit Lions. I'm not saying that the Leafs obviously are a good regular season team. They win games in the regular season, this and that. It's just when they get to the playoffs. But I use the Detroit Lions as an example because the Detroit Lions for so many years sucked. They stunk up the joint, and they had a good few years, obviously, with Coach MCDC. They had a few years with like just building a foundation of, okay, this is how we're going to build our team. This is how we're going to be playing. This is the edge that we're going to play on, this and that. Like, this is our identity, right? And I feel like that's the same thing that's been happening, and they were able to make the conference championship this past year in the playoffs in the NFL, right? So for the Maple Leafs, I feel like they're on that same type of trajectory, building up from just all these disappointing years that they've had, in the playoffs, and just trying to build on that, trying to improve on that, right? And make themselves better. Sheldon Keefe has gotten so much, slack, so much, what are we gonna say? So much, I don't know, so much, yeah, so much crap, man. It's gotten so much crap saying that, shouldn't have, I mean, just all of these, just about him not being able to win with the Leafs, right? Right, and are they going to move on from him? What's going to happen? Like not trusting him, and he's the longest reigning head coach in the NHL after the Senators dismissed DJ Smith last year, right? And you like to see that. You like to see that the organization had trusted him because he's building on something. You like to see that that's a good sign as well. It's a good sign as well, right? But it's gonna be interesting. I mean, going into the playoffs, you hope that they keep this cutting edge. Matthews continues scoring his goals because last year against the Panthers, they just weren't able to score. They just weren't able to get the puck into the back of the net. Panthers able to hold them down. I mean, some of those games are really surprising. I mean, the Leafs that scored so many goals in the regular season got into this Panther series and scored like 6 goals, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy, but we're gonna see. I mean, this year is improvement for the Leafs. They're looking much better. I know everybody's still saying, okay, it's the same old Leafs, but man, they're looking much better, much more improved, much more cutting edge, much more around the board depth as well, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to continue this in the playoffs. Obviously, I think that they'll have a great chance of doing it. Especially with Matthews has been just getting better and better and better and better. Even though he had a great year last year, I think this is he's even better this year. He's even better this year, and that was one of the best seasons, scoring wise, in NHL history. So, yeah, quick talk on that. Let's get on to some F1 talks real quick. We still in the uh, just testing sessions of it all. I mean, as I am filming, or as I am recording right now, practice testing. There's still like an hour left. Um, we're seeing, uh, a lot of these cars go longer runs. I was watching for just for Louis if he's gonna do a long run, and what do you know? He did. He's been doing long runs all day. As I check the times, though, it seems that he kind of amped up the pressure a little bit on himself. He kind of opened it up a little bit, and yeah. But even then, nobody's running the pace. Everybody's behind on the pace from last year. I guess Carlos Sainz is running the pace of what it would be pole last year, but we all know that that's just all these cars are a second faster than last year. Even the Haas is a second faster than the Haas last year, right? So times are pretty misleading in that sense when you just look at it and say, oh, okay, like just because you don't know you don't know, yeah, like the 129 from Carlos Sainz um, was, I believe, it would have been good for second last season. Let me just double check that. Because that was yeah, the 1-2. It's something that, like, because last night, Verstappen was lapping the field. He was like a second. He ended like a second, 1.1 seconds uh ahead of the pace. Like nobody, like 1.1 seconds ahead of the next person up. I think it was Leclerc, and everyone's like, oh yeah, but the thing is, that everybody was off the pace last night. Everyone was, even Verstappen was 2 seconds off the pace last year. Um, so that's the one thing that I look at, and it was like, oh, like I see, like, yeah. I mean, it was. I don't know. I don't know. For Mercedes though, it looks like they're going through the heavy, just doing long runs, doing those long times. Doesn't seem like they're uh, showing a lot of their hand right now, which is promising. You really don't know though, because like I said, everybody's not showing their hand, right? But it looks like the Mercedes, especially with that front wing, and the FIA saying, to be honest, we'll just have to see how it performs before we ban it. It might seem that like the Mercedes is probably a lot quicker this year. You hope so. Just with all the things they're working with, the aerodynamics, trying to get that dirty air, because that's really what the front wing is trying to do, right? Trying to get a lot less dirty air and move it away from move it away from the front of the car. Move it to the sides, move it like just outside. If you get what I'm saying, like a fan, like imagine a fan. How do I explain this? I don't even know how to explain this properly, honestly. But like just trying to get the air on the outside of the car instead of inside type, right? Trying to fan it out, trying to fan it out. But we're seeing that, because last year as well, just I mean, for Red Bull, they're just a step ahead. I mean, the aerodynamic, the department, and they're just a step ahead. We're seeing all their vertical side pods, that new concept that they came up with and how it's working. That's trying to get the dirty air as well, like all of it, right? And it got big, huge gaping holes around the halo, just behind the halo. Sorry, in the middle, and then like it just like the shards, and then they just got gaping hole. So you're interested to see how the air just gonna go through other cars. It goes through, um, all the times that it needs to go through. I think Louis just finally, yeah, he's out here doing another fast lap. Lewis is, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, going back into the pits. Excited to see though. Excited to see. I mean, I'm hoping that, like I said yesterday, I'm hoping that Mercedes is able to, or Mercedes has been able to give Lewis Hamilton a car to be able to compete against Max Verstappen, because we already know, in this regulation life cycle, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 3 years.
It's going to be interesting to see, especially as the season is ramping up. We're going to get a better idea of where these cars actually stand. Because if you do keep up with F1, you know that the testing is what it is. It's testing. They're not gonna. No team, even Williams, isn't gonna show their hand during testing. And that's just the way things are. That's just the way things are done, right? Yeah, so as next week rolls around, and day three is tomorrow. As day three rolls around, maybe we get a little bit more faster lap times. Less cars go out there with less fuel. Faster tires. All that fun stuff. As that starts to happen, we'll get a better idea of where Mercedes, where Ferrari, how far or how close they are to Red Bull. Because last year it wasn't close at all. It was not close at all.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Just wanted to preview the NBA games tonight as well. We got a full slate of NBA games finally coming back after that all the All Star festivities. We're starting the second half of the season. So we're on the home stretch now. For teams that are tanking, this is the home stretch. Got to lose as much games as you can, trying to get the best possible position in the table. So if the balls don't bounce your way, you could at least get still, I mean, a higher pick, at least be set from what your record is. And I say this because I'm a Toronto Raptors fan, as you may well know. And right now, the Toronto Raptors have the sixth worst record in the NBA. But that could change. Right? Because of, we just, we're just a game ahead of, Memphis is just a game ahead of us. So, it's not, or Memphis is half a game ahead of us, honestly. Yeah. So it's not something that, and Memphis has sucked all year, just like we've sucked, just like we have. So anything could really happen. It's not set in stone, but yeah, hoping the Raptors lose as much games as possible in these last 27, because we're not going to make the playoffs. And even if we do make the playoffs, we're not going to do anything really in the playoffs. Really want this to get a really nice young player, a top six talent at least, hoping for better than top six, but at least, top six talent. I seen the ESPN mock draft. Ooh, the episode where I'm gonna be talking about the 2024 draft and going, that's gonna be one of the most fun episodes, I promise you that. Just like looking at the way everything's just shaking up. Everybody's saying this is a weak draft. I honestly truly do not believe that. Like, with my whole heart, I truly do not believe that. The last ESPN mock draft had Nikola Topic from Red Star. He's the Serbian PG guy's, a dimer. He's a dimer. He's the next white chocolate. He's a dimer. And they had him go into the Raptors at 6. And the weird thing about that is if you go to Tankathon, Nikola Topic is the second best prospect for them. Obviously, all these different sites have their own opinion, because all these different sites have different scouts. ESPN has their scouts, Tankathon has their scouts, and we won't really know until they get on the floor. But you see Nikola Topic's game. Scoring wise, doesn't really have a great 3-point shot, but on the interior, be able to get onto the interior, has great, you know, uh, mid range ability, able to finish around the rim really well. Uh, Obviously, the best part of his game is that he's a dimer. And he's also going to be coming into the league at 18, pretty young, able to mold him. Obviously, I don't want to get too into it, but if the Raptors are able to get a player like that, it's just, that's why, top six talents, and there's some great players in this draft that we will go over here on the GameTime Gazette as we get closer to the draft. But since it's just draft time right now, and I mean, not draft time, since it's just the start of the second half of the season, we'll still follow the NBA as we get closer to the end of the season and see where the teams are kind of lining up. We'll start talking about the draft. Okay, but the Raptors are versus the Nets today. Nets firing Jack Vaughn. We talked about this on last pod or 2 pods ago. This is the first first game for head coach or assistant turned into head coach. And after being on the Game Time Elite, all of this and that, and Overtime Elite, I'm sorry, just getting a new coach, trying to get a new, Kevin Ollie, former UConn head coach, former Overtime Elite head coach. He's the interim head coach. Being able to go and get an opportunity to. I mean, the Nets right now, they stand up, I believe, 10th in the East, 11th in the East, 3 games back, 3.5 games back from, or 2.5 games back from the Hawks. Not been having a great season. We've talked about how it just doesn't even make any sense what they're really doing. I mean, that's another team that if I'm the Nets, just lose as many games as possible, try and get a better pick. Don't see them make. I mean, they could make the play-in though. They're right there for the play-in. Like that's what it is, right? They're right there for the play-in. But even if they do make the play-in, I really don't see them having an impact in this playoffs this year. We'll see how Kevin Ollie does, and it's always when you hire a new manager, you get that kind of new life in the team. So we'll see how the Nets do as well. Maybe they get on a win streak here tonight. That's one of those games. Just wanted to comment on the Raptors a little bit. Want them to lose, trying to get the best draft pick possible. But we got good NBA games like that actually mattered towards the standings. So we got the Knicks against the Sixers. Joel Embiid, OG, and Julius Randle are still out. So that one right there, and the spread is like at 1.5, 2. The last I seen. So it's books are predicting it's going to be a close game. I honestly see. I mean, I've seen the Sixers without Joel Embiid and kind of look discombobulated, even though they're able to stay in games, stay close at the end of games. They don't obviously, they don't have their guy, the go-to guy that they always go to and finish the games off with. But yeah, that's a problem, especially with the Knicks, because the Knicks go-to guy is going to be in the lineup, Jalen Brunson. So if it's close at the end, I see the Knicks eking it out just because like they have a player that could, finish out games in Jalen Brunson. Like I expect that from Tyrese, but not really an expectation from Tyrese. Like he's able to drop points, but when to get to the end of the game, he's really passive, trying to get others involved. And I understand that because that's not his role. Obviously, Joel Embiid being in the team, obviously, that's Joel Embiid's role. But you just don't see that cutting edge from him at the end of games. I was watching, I believe it was against the Hawks, their last game? No, it was against the Heat. Heat without Jimmy Butler as well, just Bam Adebayo. And at the end of the game, Tyler Hero was the one able to make plays, for the Heat and being able to make some shots. And you seen just Tyrese passive. It is what it is, but that's, if it's close at the end of the game, I see the Knicks eking it out. You got Suns and Mavericks. That's going to be a good one as well. Always a good one where Devin Booker and Luka go up against each other. Always get some fireworks. And yeah, those guys, they got to kind of respectful rivalry. Don't really like each other too much, so that's gonna be a fun game to watch. And you got Clippers and Thunder. Got Shea going up against his old team. Shea going up against a team that traded him. I do not, till this day. I mean, it makes sense for the Thunder, and the Clippers were able to make a deep playoff run, still not able to get that chip. So, it's one of them ones where and Shea's a future player as well. One of those trades where, obviously Shea wasn't what he was at the time that they traded him for PG, and he wasn't the only one part of that trade. But I mean, he's an MVP candidate. He's the leading MVP candidate today, in my opinion. Averaging 33 points per game. OKC is second in the West after being in purgatory and last for how long? Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to watch. And I'll be here tomorrow to just break it down, analyze, and tell you guys everything about all the games. F1. I'll be talking about some MLB spring games, as we got some tonight. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow, as we getting back into baseball season, hockey, soccer, all of that and more. I thank you guys so much for listening on another day. It's been your host, Isaiah Aneni. This has been the GameTime Gazette. As always, I hope God answers every single one of your prayers. Stay blessed, stay humble, tell your loved ones you love them. Today's going to be a good day. You're going to have some fun. I'm going to have some fun. Let's just keep living life. Alrighty.